Hey guys, it's Hano553. Welcome back to another Beyblade X unboxing and review. Today we're going to be checking out the most recent collab pack from Hasbro, that being Spider-Man and Hulk. Now going over the packaging quickly, as you can see we got some really nice illustrations of both Spider-Man and Hulk from the new movie. And on the back of the box it goes over everything we get in this collab pack. So of course we have Spider-Man, so we have the Spider-Man blade with 660 and Rush. And then the Hulk, we have of course the Hulk blade with the 385 ratchet and needle. Now before I get into this collab pack, I do want to give a massive thank you to Southside Bladers for helping me get one of these packs my way. I will chuck a link to their Instagram in the description below so you can go and check out and follow that page. But thank you so much, man, for helping me get one of these packs. But anyway, let's now get into this collab pack. So here is Spider-Man and Hulk out of the packaging. So this pack is of course releasing in conjunction with the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out next month. Really looking forward to that. But similar to the Grogu and Snowtrooper collab pack, so we are getting a repaint of an existing blade along with a new retool. Now this time around they are two different blades, so that's probably a good thing. And of course we got some different parts here as well for the most part. But anyways, let's now take a deep dive into both blades and all the parts that we get in this collab pack. So first off, we have the Spider-Man blade itself. So this is pretty much a repaint of the existing Spider-Man blade that we first got with Spider-Man and Venom back when the collab packs first came out. So performance-wise and weight-wise will be very identical to it. But Spider-Man is a defense type blade, not a defense type, a stamina type blade that is a remold of Viper Tail. So the performance of this blade should be very similar to Viper Tail, which isn't the best. Nowadays when you compare to certain stamina types, it does struggle quite a bit, but it can do decently in certain tier groups, and Spider-Man can weigh a little bit more than the original Viper Tail, which can be pretty handy at times. But other than that, it is a blade we have gotten before, but I do love the new colors on it. And plus the gear chip looks really nice. I actually kind of do prefer it over the original version. Next up we have the 660 ratchet. So really nice part to get here. And this is the first reprint of this part from Hasbro, which is pretty cool. Now 6 attrition points at the 60 height. It can be pretty decent, but it can be a little bursty at times. But the colors of the 660 are fantastic. The red coal with the blue contact points, it looks really, really good. I do see people potentially ratchet swapping this to get some really nice color combinations. But apart from that, it is a ratchet we've gotten before, but it is the first reprint of this ratchet since Courage Dran. So definitely pretty happy to see this part appear in a collab pack and in some really, really nice colors. Finally, for the bit, we have Rush, a really great part to see here. We actually haven't seen this since Captain America and Red Hulk, so really happy to see this part get reprinted here. And not just because of that, the colors of this bit look absolutely phenomenal. The dual molding looks great with the red tip and the translucent blue shaft. Really nice color contrast. I definitely see a lot of people buying this bit just because of these colors. It looks great. I think they absolutely nailed it. But even then, really great part. Definitely happy to see it again in a brand new collab pack. With this combination of parts, it makes Spider-Man an attack type. But let's now focus on the second bay that we get in this collab pack. And that bay being Hulk. So we're going to start off with the Hulk blade itself. Now when this pack first got leaked, I was thinking they were going to repaint Red Hulk into Hulk, but no. it's a completely new retooling, this time being a retool of Obsidian Shell. And I gotta say, the motif of this looks really cool. I love seeing Hulk's arms, like it's like showing off its muscles. Looks great. But like I said, it is a remold of Obsidian Shell, but the contact points are a little bit more rounded, so it's gonna probably perform very similar to Tackle Goat. And at least Hulk, when you compare it to Black Shell or Obsidian Shell, it does weigh a bit more, so it might perform a tiny bit better, but not by much. But even still, love the motif of this blade. I think it looks really good. And honestly, it's really cool to see a brand new blade out of Black Shell. It's definitely something, I know it's a very niche defense type, but I actually honestly really like seeing some of the more underrated blades get retools like this. Next up we get 385. So yes, it's another reprint of 385. Not a big fan of this, but I will admit I really kind of like the color on it. I really like this green that they used. It's the same green that they used on the Hulk Blades plastic. I've seen a few people not be the biggest fan of this color. I think it looks pretty cool, but why 385? We've been getting so many reprints of this with the last like 3 waves. Like, please, Hasbro, Takara, I get it. It's a cheap ratchet, but just stop printing it for a while. Everyone's getting sick of these. But apart from the ratchet, I do like the colors on it. But yeah, just a little bit disappointing it is a 385 ratchet. Finally, for the bit, we get Needle. Again, kind of a similar story to 385, just not a really good bit. We've been getting a few reprints of this lately, but honestly, I'm not really feeling it. But I will admit, the colors of this needle look great. Again, the dual molding with the translucent green and honestly this dark green looks really, really nice. But apart from that, it's not the best bit. There are other needle bits that tend to perform a lot better. Granted, on some bays it can actually do pretty decently. But either way, not the best bay, and this does lead to the stock combo for Hulk being a little bit crap. With this combination of parts, it makes Hulk a defense type. But let's now head over to the scales and weigh up all the parts that Hulk and Spider-Man come with. Alright, let's now get some weights for Spider-Man and Hulk. So we'll start off with Spider-Man. So Rush weighs 2.03, 660, this weighs 6.21, and then the Spider-Man blade, this one weighs 33.64 grams. That's around the same ballpark as other Spider-Man blades, I'm pretty sure. Now when you compare it to the original Viper Tail, it's 34.26. So it is a little bit lighter, but not as much compared to other retools in the past. And just for comparison, here it is with Terra Swing. Let's see, Terra Swing weighs almost around the same weight. In fact, a little bit more. So let's put the bay together. 660 and Rush. Oh, those colors. I think this is definitely going to be the best the best colors these parts have seen. So altogether, Spider-Man weighs 41.98 grams, so not a bad weight for it. Now for a Hulk, needle, 2 grams exactly, 385, 4.64, and then finally the Hulk blade, 32.61 grams, so that is pretty light. When you compare it to the original Obsidian Shell, so it is a little bit heavier than the original shell by about half a gram, pretty much. Pretty much, by about 0.6 grams. So it's a weight increase, which is not too bad. Then when you compare it to Tackle Goat, 31.65. So for the time being, Hulk is now the heaviest version of the Black Shell mold, which is pretty nice. So let's put the bay together. I do like the colors. I know a few people aren't the biggest fan of this green, but I think it does look pretty nice. But altogether, Hulk weighs 39.24. So let's now get these two out onto the stadium and do some test spins and some test battles. Alright, now we're going to do some test spins and some test battles with Spider-Man and Hulk. So we'll start off with Spidey. So being on Rush, obviously hopping onto the line. But yeah, I really like the colors on this combo. That's definitely going to be the main selling point of this collab pack, is the colors of the 660 and that Rush. They are really, really nice. And plus, honestly, I think this blade looks a lot better than the previous Spider-Man, at least in my opinion. I think the colors of the other parts help as well. Just make it look very bright. Now for Hulk. Now being on Needle, it's going to stay in the center. I am curious on how this will go because it is slightly heavier than the original Black Shell, which is something I wasn't expecting. And plus the shaping is a little bit similar to Tackle Goat, so it actually might do decently, even though it is only a tiny bit heavier. But let's now see how both of these go in some test spins. I've already done the test spins. Let's see how they do against some opponents in some test battles. And the small burst of Hulk right at the end too. Yeah, I really want to know who was the smart one to think putting 385 Needle together was a great combo. not surprising. Yep. I would say the mold, at least the molding, it is having some nice recoil, but just with how tall his combo is, it's just not working against really any bay, well, somehow except for Spider-Man. So that's the final look at the Spider-Man and Hulk collab pack for Brand New Day. I actually really like this collab pack. It's not the best collab pack they've done so far, but it is a pretty decent collab pack, especially if you are going to be heading to this new film and you are a big fan of the MCU. This is going to be some really nice additions if you are a big Marvel fan. But it's not perfect, but I still think it's pretty solid. But I'm going to go into a bit more detail of both blades now, one by one. Starting off with Spider-Man, I do think Spider-Man is the best blade out of this pack. I am a little bit disappointed though that it is just a repaint. I would have liked to see a new tooling for Spider-Man, but it does make a bit of sense. And granted, if you haven't gotten the original Spider-Man and Venom collab pack, you do have another opportunity to get the Spider-Man blade at least, which is pretty cool. And I do think it does look a little bit better. But the part choices for Spider-Man are definitely what make this an absolute winner. 660 and Rush are pretty good parts, well, Rush definitely more so, and really nice reprints. But the colors of those parts are fantastic. It's definitely worthwhile to get this pack just for those colors of those parts alone. So yeah, I'm really happy with how Spider-Man turned out, and definitely is the MVP of this collab pack. Now for Hulk, I think he is pretty decent as well, but he is definitely let down on a few aspects. Now it is cool to see that they did retool Black Shell into this, and I think it worked out pretty well. Granted, I would have liked to have preferred seeing the OrenoBeys version of Red Hulk get repainted, but either way, I still think it looks great. But the part choices are what really let Hulk down though. Another reprint of 385 is really disappointing to see. This could have been a great opportunity to include some different ratchets that haven't been widely reissued from Hasbro yet. Same with Needle, we've gotten this bit quite a bit in the collab line in general, so I'm not the biggest fan of seeing it here. Would have liked to have seen, I don't know, maybe Wedge. I think that would have been a great choice. But I would say Hulk is worthwhile for the blade, but just not for the parts, unless you are really gunning for the colors, which I will admit, they are really nice. So my final thoughts on this collab pack are really good. Once again, I do think Spider-Man is definitely the major selling point of this collab pack. It's really worthwhile for the parts it comes with. Hulk, I do think is pretty decent blade-wise, but the part choices they gave Hulk, I think, are very disappointing. But I can definitely recommend this collab pack if you are a massive MCU fan. This is definitely going to be a great addition to your collection. Or you're just after these color parts, as these are some of the best colors I've seen on any of the parts released by Hasbro so far. These are really, really solid. But that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please do check out all my friends' links in the description below. And also make sure you check out Southside Blader's Instagram as well. Again, thank you so much for helping me get this pack around. And pretty quickly too. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video.